Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a program on the internet. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local, mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today. She makes us sound good. She keeps the trains on time. She is incapable of going and getting my coffee that I left out there, though, which is why I was glancing out the window.
Well, I was like,
oh, no.
I was like, what?
I was looking around like, what? She's at the door. She's actually pickled.
Hi. I like that I keep the trains on time. That's a new one. I don't think I've heard that. So I'm not, like, it's not the conductor. It's more so like the person that schedules the trains.
Yeah, you're Sir Topham Hatt.
It's like at the airport when it's like the director, like sitting in the airport tower thing.
Yeah,
but
you're the air traffic controller.
There we go. That's the word.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Whoa. Today is Monday, October 3rd, 2022, 52 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Jeff Tepper.
Yes. Happy birthday, Jeff. I saw that on Facebook earlier.
Today is my brother Jeff's birthday, El Jefe. Happy birthday, Jeff. Episode 1467, right?
I don't think that's right.
I think it's 68.
Okay.
All right. 1468. I'll look it up on the podcast background. On today's show, folks, big show. We've got, I'll go in reverse order because we're mixing some things up. The very end of the show, I hope you'll stick around because we are going to be joined by the head coach of the Brookshire Royal Falcons. Coach Theadis Reagins is going to join us. Brookshire Royal is off to a remarkable start. They got a big upset win over Sealy this past week to move to 5-0. That's the most wins in a season for them since 2010. They have been turning it around in a big way. So we are excited to hear from Coach Reagans coming up here at the back half of the program. Before that, we're going to unveil the Dave Campbell's 1,469.
Yeah, I can't believe I messed that up.
You should have known. Nice. Then before that, we're going to unveil the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press rankings for Week 7. A fair amount of classifications that are pretty chalky, and also some significant turnover. Mm-hmm. That is a tease if you like stability or you like chaos. Everybody wins. Before that, we'll have Monday morning fallout where we will overreact to the football weekend. But first, Pickle, to start things off, we have a major Dave Campbell's Texas football announcement. Because, we like to mix things up when we're in the season. The season's a fun time to do fun things.
We like fun. Big fans of fun. Big fun fans.
You may remember a couple weeks ago, we did Dave Campbell's Texas football watch-along.
We sure did.
A resounding success. Joe Cluley and Mike Roach were in. Y'all had a ball. Seemed like you guys had a lot of fun.
We had a blast.
Yeah.
It was a good time. Shout out Coach Cluley for driving all the way in.
We had so much fun that we're deciding to do it again. Big time.
Let's go.
Thursday, October 6th. A 6 p.m. kickoff, so mark your calendars. It's the early Katy kickoff. Mm-hmm. The number 5 Katy Tigers will welcome in the defending 5A Division I state champion Katy Pato Panthers, and you can watch it live for free, courtesy of Texan Live, in the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Watch-Along. Wherever you're watching this show right now, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, you can do that. But, of course, with a watch-along, and especially with a game of this magnitude, we had to pull out the big guns, right? So you and I are going to be there. We are not the big guns. We are easily the least exciting people.
We're like the little water guns.
Exactly. We'll also be joined by Dave Campbell's Texas Football College Football Insider. Mike Craven will be on the couch.
A medium-sized gun.
Back by popular demand.
Let's go.
Making his return to the couch. McKinney head coach Marcus Shavers is going to be on here. We heard you. We know you love Coach Shavers.
I was like, y'all loved you some Shavers on that last watch along.
So we just did it. We just said, hey, you want to do it again? And making his inaugural Dave Campbell's Texas Football watch along appearance, all the way from the 806.
Yeah.
The head coach of your Lubbock Coronado Mustangs, our buddy DJ Mann, is going to be rolling in.
You want to talk about a long trip.
That is a crew. DJ Mann from Lubbock Coronado, Marcus Shavers from McKinney, Mike Craven, our college football insider, as well as Pickle and I, watching Katie and Katie Pato this Thursday, 6 o'clock.
It's a party.
You can watch it Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. We'll be giving you commentary on the game. So we're very excited about that. The Dave Campbell's Texas Football Watch-Along is back. Big-time game in District 19 6A. See a top 5 team in the state. Their first ever meeting with Katie Pato. So excited to see that and excited to talk with DJ Mann and Marcus Shavers, who I have a feeling
there will
be some entertainment value provided
yeah.
from those guys. It is those are guys who know ball. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll hope you'll join us here on Thursday for the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Watch-Along. Pickle! Hit the air raid sign. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout, of course, when we overreact to the football weekend. And there's plenty to overreact to here on a Monday after Week 6. So, let's get into it. Let's start with my 3 big thoughts. Thought number 1, more than a rivalry. Mm-hmm. There were a couple of games this week that, Week 6 we mentioned was a bit of a thinner slate simply because of all the open dates. But across the state, there were a fair number of rivalry games, a fair number of games that were, 2 teams that don't have a ton of love for one another. And what I am struck by is that these are games that the results have far bigger implications than just bragging rights.
Yes.
There's a lot of times where it's just like, hey, you won, but what do you get? Mm-hmm. Maybe you get like a traveling trophy. You get to talk some mess at the diner for a year.
But now let's head to Mustang Panther Stadium.
There were a couple of them. One of them, as you mentioned, was in Grapevine. As Grapevine finally gets over the hump, snaps a 3-game losing streak to Colleyville Heritage in resounding fashion. And this is huge for a couple of reasons. One, this is a state-ranked 5A Division II matchup. Mm-hmm. But make no mistake about the real implications here.
It was a district matchup.
It was a district game. Mm-hmm. District 4, 5A Division II. And in my opinion, with all due respect to Fort Worth Arlington Heights, mm-hmm. I think that sets up Grapevine as the team to beat in District 4 or 5A Division II.
I agree.
So they get the red rail, they get the bragging rights, and they get
1-0 in district.
They get the most important thing, which is the catbird seat in the in district, which to me that's getting the entire milkshake. You get everything.
It's a Luann platter.
The other one was in Stephenville, mm-hmm. as Brownwood took on rival Stephenville in the Battle of 377, and Stephenville came away with a rather impressive win. And the whole week, we had done nothing but slander the Stephenville defense. Just ripping them a new one. Oh, my gosh. This offense is incredible. This defense, woof. Well, I'll be darned if they didn't go out there and put together their most complete defensive performance. It was a masterclass defensively. And look, I think that we know what this defense now is going to be, mm-hmm. which is I still think they're going to give up their fair amount of yards, and I still think they're going to give up their fair amount of points. But I believe they forced 3 turnovers.
Yeah, I was just going to say they have turnover capability, kind of more of that big moment. They'll get blitzed every now and then, but when they need it, they can go get it.
You can win like that.
Yes, especially with that offense.
Correct. You cannot win giving up 48 points a game. You just feel like you can't. I'm sorry, that's not a championship caliber defense. But if you make big plays at the big moments, mm-hmm.
I would be interested to see have they forced any other turnovers throughout.
I would be interested in seeing that. This is that to me. If you're talking about more than a rivalry game, yes, they get the win over Brownwood and they keep the bragging rights in the Battle of 377. That's not a district game, but it is obviously very important to them. But more importantly, as they head into district play, the defense showed some signs of life. And that is really important. Mm-hmm. Thought number 1. Thought number 2, got that frog in them.
I hate that. It's so good. I saw it this morning and literally laughed out loud, and I don't like doing that when you make jokes. That's good.
Got that frog in them. It's time to reckon with this fact. Not an opinion, not a thought, not a theory. This fact.
Not foreshadowing, just literally a fact.
TCU is the best college football team in Texas. At least at the FBS level. Mary Hardin-Baylor certainly has something to say about it. I don't think there's anyone else at the smaller school level that can lay claim.
No.
But TCU is the finest, it's the best college football team in the state, and I don't think we would be saying that. First year under Sonny Dykes. But what they did against Oklahoma, I think stakes their claim. Because they didn't beat Oklahoma.
No, they beat them the entire game.
I don't like to curse on the show. That was an ass-kicking.
It really was, from stem to stern. Like, there was never a time in that game where I was like, oh, here comes Oklahoma. It was always like...
From the word go, they clobbered them. It was a remarkable performance, and the offense looked unbelievable. The offense looked like nobody was ever going to touch them. That was impressive. It's coupled with other results we saw. Now, Texas, I thought, showed some really signs of life. I'm not like we do this weird thing where we measure Texas as to whether or not they're back. Right. It's either you are 2005 Texas or you're garbage. They're not either of those.
Right.
They're very clearly, in my opinion, better, and they look good against West Virginia, but they've already got 2 losses.
Right.
A&M, the offense continues to just be atrocious, and it's probably only going to get worse. Right?
Texas Tech is really good, but I feel like they're kind of
a year away.
Yeah, they're figuring it out to where Sonny Dykes and TCU could have been that way, but that's the difference.
Yeah, Tech is a good team. When they are not turning the ball over,
they're a good team.
They're a top 3 team in the Big 12, top 4 team in the Big 12, but when they turn the ball over, anybody can beat them, and that's what happened against Kansas State. Houston's the biggest disappointment in the state.
Yes.
UTSA's already got a couple losses. It's clear. TCU is the best college football team in the state of Texas. I don't think there's really any doubt about it. Thought number 3, down the stretch we come. We're now into week 7.
Which is wild.
Okay, we've got 5 more weeks of the regular season. And that feels like simultaneously a lot and also like nothing at all. There are teams that have already played 6 games. Their regular season is half over, more than half over. And we are now at the point, and I looked this up, in the UIL ranks, let me be clear. In the 11-man UIL ranks, there's still a lot of 4-team, 6-man districts that don't get going until week 9. There are a grand total of 2 non-district games this week. 2. Both down there in District 16, 4A Division 2. Port Isabel and Bishop, I think, play non-district games. Everything else matters. And everything else, the spotlight is only going to grow. So, excited to see how these things roll out. 3 helmet stickers. A helmet sticker to Seagoville running back Ronald Manning, who carried the ball 38 times for 281 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. A helmet sticker to UTSA's receiving corps. Is this the best receiver corps in the state?
Has to be. They have, what, 3 of them? Before the game even, they had 3 of them with over 500 receiving yards?
Like, if you look at the national receiving records, or national receiving leaders, they have 3 of the top 16 leading receivers in America.
Yeah.
Okay? As for yards per game. DeCorian Clark, Josh Cephas, and Zachary Franklin. Okay? They have 3 guys that Zachary Franklin is averaging 98.2 yards per game. So if he were to have 1.8 more, they'd have 3 100-yard receivers on their team.
Insane.
Per game. No, like, to put that in perspective, no other team in America has 2 of the top 16.
Yeah, shout out to Frank Harris for being able to, deliver the ball.
Big win over Middle Tennessee this week. And a helmet sticker to San Antonio Brennan quarterback Ashton DuBose. Not his first, not his last. 15 for 31, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, 6 carries, 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He rolls out of bed and goes 250 and 100.
Seems easy.
3 teams to watch. Stanford, in one of the more low-key kind of games in the state, battle of unbeatens between them and Olney, which I think got a nice spotlight on Bally simply because it was a bit of a lighter week. But they go on the road and they beat Olney in a low-scoring defensive slugfest, and did it, I thought, really impressively. Bret Hart's squad now gets an open date before the real season starts. It's a strange game, that Stanford-only game, because Cisco and Hawley are still in that district, and I think that those have to be number 1 and number 2 in some sort of order in that district. But I think Stanford is good enough to be pesky to those two teams. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye on them. Watch this space. Sam Houston. Well, that's the way you end a rivalry.
No kidding.
Sam Houston rips the heart out of Stephen F. Austin one last time as they exit to the FBS level. Scoring with, I want to say 33 seconds left or something like that, maybe even less, to take their first lead of the game. And when I was locked in on this fourth quarter.
Yep.
An incredible contest, and Sam Houston wins the final, at least for now, Battle of the Piney Woods. And allow me to introduce you to the unbeaten team that you are not paying attention to. The Highlanders of El Paso Bel Air are 6-0. They're 6-0, and I got to be honest, I think they're going to beat East Latha this week, and they're going to be 7-0. This team, I think, was 2-9 last year.
Mm-hmm. I saw them play in person last year.
This team, and they're rolling people.
Mm-hmm.
They're rolling people. Keep an eye on the Highlanders of El Paso Bel Air. Bigger tests to come. They've still got Del Valle, and they've still got Parkland in district. But this is the playoff team pretty clearly. They rolled Hanks in their district opener.
Well, and they don't even have your boy anymore, right? The Mizzou commit. Oh, gosh. Or was that Burgess? That was El Paso Burgess. Never mind.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Yeah, it's okay. Yes. Bel Air has been pretty middling for a while, but they are hot, 6-0. The Bel Air Highlanders. 3 to see. Big week ahead. Gilmer and Pleasant Grove. It's Gilmer Pleasant Grove week.
That's what we do.
It's Gilmer Pleasant Grove week. This is a huge. Is a massive, game as far as I think. So we haven't talked a ton about Carthage a lot. They're the number 1 team in 4A Division 2. Spoiler alert for the rankings reveal. They're the number 1 team in 4A Division 2. But this, at least, the winner of this game becomes the chief challenger to them. Now, both of them can challenge Carthage, but becomes the biggest threat. There's a huge game out there in Texarkana. A lot to break down. Oklahoma and Texas. It's Red River week. Mm-hmm. Of course, the good news is that College Game Day is at a Big 12 game. So I presume it has to be at Oklahoma and Texas, right? I'm checking my notes here.
Lawrence, Kansas would like a word, sir.
They're not. Instead, they're going to be some godforsaken place. But Oklahoma and Texas this week. I believe it's the first.
Is Kansas being good, just absolutely eating at you?
I believe it's the first matchup of unranked Oklahoma and Texas since like the early 90s.
That does not surprise me.
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
And
with Oklahoma's loss to TCU, this is an even more steep thing for Texas.
I got to be honest, yeah. Texas.
You're going to look real bad if you do not beat Oklahoma.
Texas, go win this game.
Yep.
We can, the back meter, increases a lot. Go win this game. And finally, massive game in 1A Division 2, Cherokee and Richland Springs. This is a game we've had circled for a while. Keep an eye on this one going down Friday in Richland Springs, a massive top 5 showdown in 1A Division 2 going down. That's 3 to see. That's Monday Morning Fallout. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Pickle. Let me see if I can pull up my reads here, because normally I have my reads.
I got my lower third, so
that's
I
great.
Win.
That doesn't help me, though, because I have this document called Reads. It's called Reads 2022, if you're interested in how the sausage is made. Pickle. Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to team up with Ozarka to honor the one high school in each football team in each classification with the Ozarka Fueled by Nature Team of the Week Award. The team selected throughout the course of this program have exemplified the best in Texas high school football. Your Week 6 Ozarka Fueled by Nature Teams of the Week. In 6A, Wiley East. Fueled by a star defensive performance and a pair of touchdowns from Tristan Lee, the Raiders took down Garland 34-7 to move to 3-0 in District 9 6A play and improved to 5-0 for the first time in program history. Marcus Gold.
That's awesome.
Work there. In 5A, Magnolia West. In a critical District 10 5A Division I showdown against state-ranked and unbeaten Richmond Foster, the Mustangs defense stood tall, and Ryan Ojeda ran for a go-ahead score with under a minute left to stun the Falcons 12-7. In 4A, going to talk to their coach in just a minute, the Brookshire Royal Falcons. Falcons are flying high after a stunning upset of Sealy, moving to 5-0 and clinching the program's first 500 or better season since 2010. In 3A, Dallas A-Plus Academy. The Knights snapped an 11-game losing streak dating back to September 2021 when they were resounding 40-24 win over Dallas-inspired Vision. In 2A, Honeygrove. On the road against an unbeaten opponent, the Warriors stormed past district rival Alba Golden to move to 4-1 in the year, a year after finishing just 2-8. In 1A, Veribest, the Falcons closed out non-district play on a high, upsetting Paint Rock 56-6 to earn their first win of the season. And the private school ranks Fort Worth Christian. In a huge rivalry matchup in the Metroplex, Luke Anderson accounted for 3 touchdowns to push the Cardinals past previously unbeaten Dallas Christian 35-24. So those are your Week 6 Ozarka Fueled by Nature Teams of the Week. Congratulations to all the schools. We salute you. For more information, visit texasfootball.com. And now a word from our friends at VCR Now.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Pickle, it's time to roll out the Week 7 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press State Rankings. Of course, Dave Campbell's Texas Football has been the official rankings provider of the Associated Press since 2019. And so we are the official Texas high school football rankings of record. If you ever see a team mentioned as like number 9 or whatever, it's these rankings. So that's what this is. So we are going to roll out the rankings. As I mentioned off the top, there's a few changes, but it's a lot of chalk. We'll get into it. Let's start with Class 6A. Here's a perfect example. The top 10, there's a one low-key change that maybe you can notice, and that is at number 10, Arlington Martin nudges into the top 10, moving up from number 11. The rest of it unchanged. North Shore, Westlake, South Lake Carroll, Duncanville, and Katy are your top 5. But Martin moves up to number 10. That is because we got 11 through 25. Highland Park drops from number 10 to number 12 after a bit of a scare from Dallas Jesuit. They drop below DeSoto and below Arlington Martin. The rest of it relatively unchanged with the exception. Number 22, Jersey Village drops out. Klein Collins, Byron Nelson, North Crowley nudge up a spot to number 22 through number 24 respectively. And new to the rankings, number 25, the Bulldogs of Humble Summer Creek. They get a big win over Humble. Big game this week against the number 1 Galena Park North Shore. 5A we go. 5A Division 1. Few different changes here. Richmond Foster loses a heartbreaker to Magnolia West. We keep them in the rankings. They drop from number 6 to number 10. But as a result, there's a few movements here. College Station leapfrogs Port Arthur Memorial to grab the number 4 spot, and Port Arthur Memorial down to number 5. Frisco Reedy up a spot to number 8, or number 7 rather. Amarillo Tascosa up a spot to number 8. Lancaster up a spot to number 9. But the top 10 unchanged. The top 3 remain the same. Longview, Mansfield, Timberview, and Denton Ryan. 5A Division 2 we go. where Colleyville Heritage has lost to Grapevine, drops them out of the rankings. And for Grapevine's spot, they leapfrog from number 8 to number 5 in the rankings with their big win. Top 4 remains unchanged in Argyle, Liberty Hill, Fort Bend Marshall, and Texas High. Montgomery Lake Creek up a spot with their big wild win, or rather they remain the same with their wild win over Montgomery. Wichita Falls Ryder and San Antonio Alamo Heights were both idle, but they move up a spot because the Colleyville Heritage drops out. And back into the rankings, number 10, the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. Even their record at 3-3, starting to figure things out. To 4A we go. 4A, big changes at the bottom. Top 7 are unchanged in Stephenville, China Spring, Cal Allen, Bernie, Anna, Salina, and Lumberton. Kaufman up 2 spots despite being idle, but because of Somerset and Brownwood's losses. And new to the rankings, number 9, the Eagles of Canyon cracked the top 10 with their number 9 with their win last week over Andrews. And Lindale back into the rankings at number 10 with their win over Athens. They are 4-2 on the year. To 4A Division 2 we go. Pretty similar in the sense that there's a couple of changes, especially at the bottom. Number 3, Wichita Falls Hershey with a rather baffling, puzzling loss to Decatur.
Yeah.
They dropped from number 3 to number 8 as a result. Everyone, as a result, kind of nudges up a spot. Pleasant Grove's up a spot. Cuero's up a spot. Silsby's up a spot. Belleville's up a spot. Wimberley's up a spot. Hampshire Fin and Center both lose. That opens up 2 spots. Into those spots, number 9, Glenrose grabs the 9th spot. And Aubrey, the Chaparrals, grab the number 10 spot with a drubbing of Gainesville. 3A Division 1, chalk. Top 10 entirely unchanged, 1 through 10. No changes to be seen. Everyone was a winner or idle. Top 3 unchanged, Franklin, Mount Vernon, and Columbus. 3A Division 2, chalk. Top 10 completely unchanged. Everybody either a winner or idle, and the top 3 remains unchanged. Gunner, Holiday, and Newton. Big matchup this week. Number 1, Gunner against number 4, Bells. 2A Division 1, chalk. Everyone was a winner or idle. Top 10 remains entirely unchanged. Top 3 is the same as well. Timpson, Hawley, and Crawford are the top 3 teams. Huge game this week between number 6 Coleman and number 9 Toller. 2A Division 2, chalk. That's right. A lot of idols here. 6 of the teams were Wellington, Wink, Chilton, Price, Carlisle, Albany, and Granger were all idle. But the rest of them were winners. The top 3 remain unchanged. Mart, Burton, and Wellington are your top 3. To 1A Division 1.
Oh, hang on. Boom.
Chalk! Everyone remains the same. Everyone behaved. Top 10 unchanged entirely. The top 3 remain the same. Abbott, Westbrook, and May were the top 3. 1A Division 2.
Say the word.
Changes.
Oh.
How about this?
How about that?
Jayton loses. As a result, they crash out of the rankings. Benjamin beats Lorraine. But I'm of the belief that Benjamin's the clear number 1 team in the state, and Lorraine was relatively competitive with them, so they drop just 1 spot to number 6. Oglesby now into the top 5 with their win. Whit Harrell leapfrogs Paducah with their win over Nazareth. That was impressive. Paducah loses to Follett 62-60. It's also a pretty good D1 team, so we don't punish Paducah. We just kind of leapfrog a team. They had an opportunity to move up, and they just won't. And then new to the rankings, that's number 8, Jayton crashes out of the rankings. New to the rankings, the Wildcats of Rising Star are 5-1 after their win over Woodson. They are new to the rankings, maybe for the first time ever. And to the private school ranks we go. The top 5, big changes. Dallas Christian loses to rival Fort Worth Christian. They crash out of the 11-man rankings. But as a result, Reagins moves up, Houston St. Thomas moves up, and Episcopal School of Dallas moves up. And new to the rankings at number 5, the team that beat Dallas Christian, number 5 Fort Worth Christian Cardinals. An impressive win over their arch rival. And in the 6-man ranks, there's some changes there as well. Lucas Christian, Plano Coram Deo loses. That moves Lucas Christian up a spot. We keep Fort Worth Covenant Classical at number 5. And new to the rankings at number 4 for the first time, Baytown Christian, the Bulldogs, get a big win over Brazosport Christian. They are 6-0. So there they are, your Week 7 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press rankings. You can find the complete rankings at texasfootball.com/rankings. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Pickle. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the leading publication for high school football in the state of Texas, and the TaxAct Texas Bowl are proud to recognize the most outstanding high school football players in the state with the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award. Each week, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football staff nominates 10 deserving candidates for that week's award based on the previous week's on-field performance. We then leave it up to you to vote at TexasFootball.com. Don't blame me. You go vote at TexasFootball.com. Voting closes each Friday at noon, with the winner being announced shortly thereafter. Your Week 6 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week nominees. Corpus Christi Miller wide receiver Lonnie Atkinson had 6 catches, 170 yards, and 4 touchdowns receiving. Amarillo quarterback Mason Graham, 358 yards and 7 touchdowns passing, and another rushing touchdown. Fort Worth Dunbar running back Murray Moore, 351 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground for Dunbar. Out east, Redwater wide receiver and defensive back Marquez Jones, 6 catches, 224 yards, and 4 touchdowns receiving. He also added 6 tackles on the defensive side. Irving MacArthur wide receiver Jerbrandon Henderson, 7 catches, 275 yards, 5 touchdowns receiving. He also ran for 56 yards. 5 touchdowns receiving. 7 catches, 5 touchdowns receiving. In the 6-man ranks, Oakwood athlete Zach Nickerson. He ran for 489 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground, and he threw for a touchdown. Jersey Village quarterback Adam Tran, 506 yards and 4 touchdowns passing. Lyford quarterback Osmer Martinez, 223 yards, 4 touchdowns rushing, 91 yards, and a touchdown passing. McCamey athlete Matthew Rosas is nominated again. 208 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing, 44 yards, and a touchdown receiving, and 15 tackles. And finally, Marlin wide receiver and defensive back Zamarian Lofton. 4 catches, 181 yards, and a touchdown receiving. He ran for a touchdown. He returned a punt return, 74 yards for a touchdown, and he had 6 tackles. So those are your Week 6 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week nominees. Vote now, vote early, vote often, vote now at TexasFootball.com. Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's welcome in the head coach of the 5-0 Brookshire Royal Falcons. We're joined by Coach Theadis Reagins. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good this morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are things in beautiful Waller County?
Everything is well right now. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll say so. You guys are off to a 5-0 start. It's the most wins for this Brookshire Royal program since 2010. I'm interested in what the difference is. This is your second year there. You have kind of a nice step in the right direction the first year, but this particular group of kids, what is it about them that has them rolling right now?
I think we actually started the process right after the season. We ended the season last year 4-6, and we lost 3 games by a total of 10 points. So we kind of started focusing on the small things in the off season. Start sweating the small stuff and understood that we need to make those 10-point difference up in the off season, and they committed to that process during the off season.
Well, and speaking of which, this past week, you guys pulled out, you guys were 4-0 coming off of an open date, and then you go and you beat Sealy 13-10. And that, to me, as an outsider, feels like an enormous step for this Brookshire Royal program. Am I mistaken, or is that the same feeling you guys are having within the program, that what you guys were able to do on Friday night against Sealy, a program that at this point needs no introduction, that represents a huge step for your program?
I think it was a statement game for us. Again, that's one of the games we kind of circled on our calendar starting in December and January, and our season stated that we need to make sure we get that game. We meant to make sure we took care of the things to make sure we got it. Again, sweating the small stuff. The offseason was really huge for us. We had a boot camp where all the seniors kind of bought in, their leadership kind of showed up. So, of course, that was a huge statement game for us, and those guys were excited to play that game.
I want to ask you a little bit about one of the things that I think is obvious, is that it seems to me that your defense has really taken a nice step forward this year. and that suddenly you guys are a defensive force to be reckoned with. I know you're a defensive guy. What is it on the defense that has changed or that has matured that has you guys rolling on the defensive side?
I think it's a combination of things. First, we got a great defensive coordinator in Coach Cryer. And, of course, he has a son, Justin Cryer, who's a Northwestern commit as our middle linebacker. We have 4 great defensive linemen, I think, with some senior leadership in Jeremiah Robinson. And I think that defensive front is just a huge thing for us. And, again, Coach Cryer, and this is a great group of defensive guys, to be honest with you.
Talking with Theadis Reagans, the head coach of the Brookshire Royal Falcons here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Coach, the other thing that's remarkable to me is I look up and down your roster, I look up and down your depth chart, and you mentioned you got some really important seniors on the defensive side, and that's true, and this is a good senior class. But you got a lot of youngins out there. You got a lot of youngsters, a lot of underclassmen out there. Have the young guys surprised you so far this season?
I think they have. Again, if you look at our roster, we only have 6 or 7 seniors on that group. And those young guys have stepped up. We got a young quarterback in Ashton Robinson, who's a sophomore, who's playing really well for us. Zakai Anderson, a sophomore running back, who's playing really well for us. So we do have our offensive line is 5 underclassmen as well. So, and 3 of the 4 defensive linemen are young guys, underclassmen. So we do have a lot of great young guys that stepping up for us.
You mentioned Ashton Robinson. I kind of want to zero in on him. This is a guy. It's not easy to be a quarterback in any situation. But taking over this program, taking over this offense as a sophomore, and he's been very sharp. 11 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. He's already thrown for more than 1,000 yards. He's run for another 184 yards. The numbers are impressive. What is it about Ashton Robinson, from your perspective, as a guy who sees him every day in practice? What is it about him that sets him apart?
He's a tough kid. He has a lot of mental toughness. Our offensive coordinator, Coach Phil Wilson, is doing a great job with him, actually. So this kid come to school, come to work and practice every day, and just trying to look to get better every day. And again, it's a testament to his hard work and a testament to the offensive coordinator who's installed a great offense for him.
Talking with Theadis Reagans, the head coach of the Brookshire Royal here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. All right, Coach. Another kind of interesting thing about your squad is I go back to week 2, and maybe this flew under people's radar, but the first time I really started sitting up and paying attention to the Falcons was in week 2 when you guys went on the road and you beat Houston Fur. That's a good Fur team. You handed them what is still their only loss of the year. At the time, did that feel like something had changed, that some sort of switch had flipped, and that maybe things were gonna be different this year?
I think on the outside, people start seeing us and start believing in us. But again, I think we always had that belief that we knew that we was gonna come in and make a great run this year, to be honest with you.
You are in your second year there at Royal. You're a guy who came over from as a defensive backs coach at Galena Park North Shore. You were at Lamar before that. You've got an illustrious resume. Everyone tells you that you are just a product of all the coaches that you've coached with and things like that. And you've gotten to coach with some outstanding ones, obviously, whether you're talking about Tom Nolan there at Lamar or John Kay there at North Shore. What did you take from those guys that you're kind of putting into your coaching style there at Royal?
Okay, as I reflect, again, I work with Coach Nolan, who's won over 300 games in Texas high school football. I've won 5 district championships with him. Then I go over to North Shore, which there 3 years with Coach K, and I won 2 state championships out of 3 years I was there with them. And both of those guys are just great coaches, and they both have different dynamics from both sides of it. But I just took the small thing from both of those programs. Coach K is very, very systematic. He has a process. He has a blueprint, and year after year, his program has been successful without guys going to D1 and guys coming out of that program. And I think both of those guys just brought some good things to their program, and I kind of actually put some of those things in my toolbox.
Okay, and you guys, I mentioned you guys are 5-0. This is a program that hasn't had a winning season since 2010. Already off to this 5-0 season. I'm excited about it. Is there a sense, like, what is the vibe like in the locker room right now? Is there a buzz right now that you haven't felt there in a minute?
It is absolutely. Again, since 2010, it's not been a winning season. And again, those guys in our season said, "Coach, we want to make sure that we have a winning season going out this year as those seniors." And they've actually stepped up and doing the part. They're leading on the field and off the field. So again, it's a testament to those seniors that's saying, "Coach, we do not want to go out as losers as we lose a record this year." So those seniors are stepping up and kind of leading this locker room. And there's a great buzz, a great energy, great focus. So we're excited about the senior leadership on this class this year.
Well, you guys get the big win against Sealy, and the good news is that things just get way easier from here. 7 o'clock Friday night. You guys are traveling to Belleville to take on a state-ranked Bramos team, an unbeaten squad. And I know you're in the film room. I know you're in the lab coming up with a game plan. I don't want to ask you to tell everybody your secrets, but when you take a look at what you guys are going to be up against on Friday night, what do you see?
I think it'd be a great challenge for us. Belleville again, one of the state-ranked teams in 4A. They got a great coach and Coach Grady Rowe, a great program. It's been successful as well. I think it'll be a challenge for us. I think our defensive line is up for the challenge. Our defense is up for the challenge. I think they got a great offense. So I think it'll be a great opportunity to showcase what we have on our defense.
You've been up to every challenge so far, and off to a 5-0 start at the Brookshire Royal Falcons and their head coach, Theadis Reagins. Coach, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the fantastic start, and go get them on Friday night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
There he goes. Theadis Reagins, head coach, Brookshire Royal Falcons. Like when I say, like, and like when we talked about how this is their first, like, you know, they haven't had a winning season since 2010. Okay, guys, like when I'm talking about, like, I'm not talking about 4-6. Like they were 4-6 last year. But you look over the past decade, and it's a lot of 1-9s, 2-8s. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have been down and down bad. But Coach Reagans has come in, and you know, last year was a nice step, 4-6. And you mentioned it, like they were in a lot of close games. They're probably, I don't need to look it up, but they're probably like 14 points away from being 7-3 or something like that.
And learning how to win those games is not an easy task.
And I'm telling you, they're for real. And look, they're going to be underdogs against Belleville.
Yes.
A lot of teams are going to be underdogs against Belleville. But that win over Sealy's massive.
Yes.
Huge. And I think it makes them at least, at worst, the second best team in that district.
Oh yeah, because we were sitting there. You and I were sitting there on the desk at Valley on Friday night, and we looked up that score and we went, "Holy cow, they did it!" Like, that's a huge win. Like we were visibly surprised.
Yeah, it was remarkable win, and they're doing big things down there. There at Brookshire Royal, really changing the narrative there with the Falcons. So we appreciate Coach Theadis Reagans joining us. Let's go to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts, and I bet I know what you want to promo.
What my final thought is, I got a meeting and I got to go. So.
Never mind, that's new for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Theadis Reagans and Brookshire Royal for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Play of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.